The judge who oversaw my final divorce was a man named Raul Vega. I heard about Judge Vega before I met him. I was told that he loved to look at women's bodies and that I should always wear short skirts and show cleavage when I appeared before Judge Vega. I was also told that he would like me. And he did like me. He was very friendly to me, sometimes winking from the bench. One time I was in his court after a morning recess and nobody else was there, and Judge Vega asked me if I liked shopping. He was a very chaotic man, so there wasn't any sort of structure or turn taking. People sort of just had to raise their voices and interrupt at a motion call, but he hated when women interrupted. So in Judge Vega's court, even the female lawyers didn't talk unless somebody asked them a question. Judge Vega also screamed in his courtroom. This happened to me when my ex-husband had brought me into court on an allegation of contempt of court, the first of several. My ex-husband was supposed to remove me as the sole guarantor on $500,000 in business loans. And at the same time, I was supposed to sign a quitclaim on the house. And one of the loans was also a mortgage on the house. And I told my ex-husband, we can put the quitclaim in escrow, and then once you remove me from the loans, you'll have it. And Judge Vega agreed with me, and he was ready to enter the order, but somehow I acted uppity. I don't even remember if I said anything or I smirked. But Judge Vega, he screamed at me, "Sometimes you need to learn how to keep your mouth shut." And he issued an order that I sign the quitclaim or go to jail that day. I had actually only mentioned Judge Vega in passing to one of the editors at Injustice Watch when I found out that there were many, many women who were reporting Judge Vega. He wrote to me that he had a team member currently working on a story about Judge Raul Vega. I'm assuming that is who you were speaking of when you wrote, "My first judge was known to like women's bodies, and I was instructed to wear short skirts and low-cut blouses before him." In the piece, I would read about women describing exactly what I'd gone through. And I even read about women talking about Judge Vega winking at them. So I knew I hadn't imagined it. The writer even recounted how female attorneys were sanctioned in Judge Vega's courtroom for not wearing skirts because he liked to look at legs. When Judge Vega screamed at or abused or flirted with the women in his court, there were almost always 10 or 20 family law attorneys standing by and watching. It's this horrible feeling because, as somebody who hasn't been to court, you think of lawyers as the people who are supposed to protect the rules. And when something really awful is happening to you and they're just sitting there and watching, then you just, and now I understand why. I didn't understand judicial immunity, but you just understand you're fucked. Judge Vega's boss was retired, disgraced presiding Judge Grace Dickler. Judge Dickler knew exactly what Judge Vega was doing, and the current chief judge of the circuit court, Timothy Evans, and the rest of the executive committee all know exactly what Vega was doing. They made a decision to remove him, to put him in an administrative role so he couldn't be in contact with women like me. So he was actually removed from my case. And he was promoted to presiding judge of the domestic violence division. Judge Vega wouldn't last too long, though, because he said something rude or crude on a phone call with another judge and was immediately forced to retire. I couldn't help but notice that hundreds of women had described what Judge Vega did, but it took one judge, and then it was true.